All right, well, welcome everyone to Hinduism, a brief overview, the first of two adult faith development classes at the Paint Branch Unitarian Universalist Church Adult Faith Development Program. And so we have Raj with us today. He's our instructor, and
Oh,
he's
I won't go
actually
that
doing.
far. Sorry.
He's also doing a sermon for us in July. And so as we were talking about topics, this one came up and it's much more involved. And I said, you know what? That would be a great topic for an actual class. We'll do the other topic for a sermon. And so we're so fortunate to have him with us today. He is he's the member of the UU congregation of Princeton, New Jersey, where he's been a member in a UU for over 45 years.
Yes.
So, yes. All right. And let's see here, just doing a little slides here. Again, we're Paint Branch Unitarian Universalist Church. We have services every Sunday at 10 a.m. We're virtual right now, so you can check out our Facebook page to get the latest link to our Sunday service, or you can just feel free to email me as well. I'm happy to give you the link so you can join us on Sundays. And now we will light our chalice. We light this chalice to remember that happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Mahatma Gandhi. Oops, that's extinguishing. There we go. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and let Raj introduce himself as well, and he'll take it from there. Thank you,
Yes.
Raj.
And so let me just take a few minutes to introduce myself, and then I'll take over the screen and show you some background material on Hinduism. As you know, my name is Raj Nigam. I was reared in India. My parents were there. And so my father was in the police service, and my mother was a homemaker. And I was the middle. I had an older sister and a younger brother. Unfortunately, both of them have passed away, but I was the middle child. And we went to school and everything. And because the police system in India is a shade different, where there's no such thing as a local police. It is all state police. So my dad was moved every 2 years because they don't want you getting too friendly with the locals, because otherwise you cannot discharge your duty and you get into corruption. So move you. And so because of that, we moved every 2 years. And finally, I went to school and to college, and I got my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. And then I said, for a little more studies, I'll come to US. And I had three things I wanted to accomplish. One was to get a master's degree, advanced degree, was to go work in a US company. So I had a little bit of American experience. And the third was to go back home and work there. Well, I accomplished 2 out of the 3. I ran into Elaine and fell in love. What can I say? Thank goodness, thank goodness. And so we've been married now 53 years, 53 years. And it's very nice. I'll tell you, best thing that ever happened to me was running into Elaine, and both of us falling in love. That was very nice. But we did go back to India for visits. We've actually been back, I don't even know, maybe 12 or 13 times. And in between, my folks have also come 5 or 6 times. So we kept in touch, but it's different than living there. So there I was. I also got my PhD in applied mathematics And so I then worked in businesses using modeling, doing a lot of modeling, be it marketing modeling, be it financial modeling, be it whatever modeling, and had a great time. I worked in 2 different companies, and then I retired in 2004. And so I've been doing other things since then. The main thing which has really been doing, which I've really, really deeply enjoyed, is tutoring and working with kids, high school kids, mainly high school kids, or even secondary school, even from, I should say, middle school to high school. I've been working with them for 10, 12 years now. So it's very satisfying. And right now, I'm actually working with 3 kids in India with Zoom. Yes. All right. So enough of me. But again, as you can tell, I grew up with Hindu background a lot. And then when my kids needed to be, when they were getting a little, like 3 years old or so, so we said, I know what I want to convey to them, our values, but we needed a village. I need a village. I need others to help them and get the same message. So the question was, what is our message? And so and Elaine's background is more congregational church. And so we went to 2 or 3 churches in Princeton and ran into UUCP. And after going through the first principle of dignity and worth for every individual and the others, I said, that's it, I'm done. We found it. And sure enough, we had found it. And that's where we still are. We still are, and very enjoying it. And we've got very involved in it. It doesn't matter. You name any work or any committee, be it rental, be it buildings and grounds, be it gardening, be it this, be it that, we've been in it. Including both Elaine and I ended up as presidents. So we've been heavily involved. And now the main thing we do, Elaine is heading up a garden committee, garden work committee. They go and do weeding and all that. And I am the 4th assistant gardener in that committee. And very good, because I don't have to make any decision. We need some mulch here. I'm happy. Where's the wheelbarrow? Or dig a hole here. I don't do any planning. So Elaine does that. So I'm very happy for that and enjoying it, but also doing other things. All right. So let me take over the screen. Enough of my talk. I will take over the screen, and then we'll talk about Hinduism. Before I start, I will mention that there is a couple of points where there are break points, and I will definitely like to stop there. And please ask about clarifications, or did anything register, or more important, what are your comments? What is your thinking, etc. A little bit of a dialogue, a little bit of an interaction. Okay. And so I won't forget to point that out. All right. So here I'm going into share screen, share. And now you should be able to see my blank screen. I'm opening up my slide and view full screen mode. And there it is. Is everybody, can they see this? All right. Okay. We've already, thanks to Ebony, we've already crossed the first hurdle. All right. So today, I'm going to talk about, the main thing I'm going to talk about is the core beliefs. And very related to that is how does Hinduism view the divine or divinity, whatever you want to call it. And I will then drift from there a little bit into what do we do on a day-to-day basis. But that will be very brief, because I'm just going to finish off on the divine aspect. And next time, I will go much more into detail about our day-to-day living, not just the worship part, but the living part. All right. So I'll give you a very quick summary first. Hinduism is a non-prophetic religion. And that basically means that we do not have a particular individual that laid out the prophecy, that laid out the rules, that laid out the methods, um, for the religion to follow. And so, for example, the Islam has a founder, Christianity has a founder, and those principles that that person enunciated are quite still there. In Hinduism, there is no individual founder, none, not at all, not at all. And I'll tell you a little bit of why and what happened. And there is no creed because our system evolved without any particular individual. It did not put any creed on. We don't have any particular rules to follow or things like that. We do have some, but nothing that was derived from observing a person or something. And I'll tell you very quickly why it is a little bit tolerant religion and why it is rather diverse a religion. And that's because we took inputs from a wide variety of sources. And because it did not have a prophet, it did not have an individual, the focus became yourself. The focus became on how do you live. And I will tell you, in Hinduism, we do have a long-term goal. We do have a long-term goal. I'm giving you a summary, but I'll be talking about these points very soon. And in Hinduism, this is again very in Hinduism, there are many things that are not confusing, but not laid out, because we don't have an individual founder. So there is nothing, it's not laid out. And so it gives you a lot of flexibility. But same thing happens with God. And I will talk about it today. Is there one God or many gods and all that? And even I will say, it is amazing that somehow this holds together. It does make sense in a once you struggle with it. Once you think about it, it does struggle. So I don't have a slide for it, but that's the only one I really, next time I will have it ready. If you look at the map of India, on the northwest side are the huge mountains called Hindu Kush. And on the right side, where Nepal is, are the Himalayas. Now, when we say mountains in India, we do not call it a mountain until it is 20,000 feet. If it is less than 20,000 feet, that's a hillock. That's a hill. We don't call it a mountain. So, and because they are also not only high, but wide, so basically what it did was it provided an impenetrable boundary against India. And in the middle, in the north, is the fantastically fertile, level Indo-Gangetic plain, which was really known as the land of milk and honey. And now in that Hindu Kush mountains, even though it was very rugged and everything, by a fluke of nature, there was a pass, a dip where you could come through, the Khyber Pass, one and only. And because of the reputation of milk and honey, many invaders came. And I can name them like 10 different ones: the Mongols, the Iranians, wherever, many. And because they came every so often, the whole central part of India got mixed up. It became very diverse because every 50 years or 100 years, there was a different invader. They conquered part of it and they exerted their influence. So it became very diverse because of that, but also became very tolerant because they didn't come to kill. They said, well, look, as long as I have my peace, give me my own piece of land and I'll be happy with it and we'll live with you. And so that was part of the historical and geographical reason why India, the Hinduism became such a diverse and tolerant religion, is because it tried to adapt to many invaders. All right. So, but what did it evolve to? So let's talk about the core beliefs of Hinduism. And they are in many respects a little bit stronger. I don't know about the word stronger, They are a little bit like the UU principles kind of a thing. But here we go. So, and there are 5 core beliefs, 5 core beliefs. The first is, and you may have heard the term karma, Karma. And karma is essentially the toolkit that you are born with. So I can tell you, some of us are born rich. They're born in a rich family. And some are born not so rich. They're in a poor family in a village or something. Some are born with musical abilities, and some were not. Some people like me, I can't even relate. I mean, I enjoy music, but when it comes to producing music, zero. Don't rely on me. So, so different people have different skills. Some are born into loving households, and some are not. Some of us are born with siblings, and some of us don't have siblings. Some of them are born as human, some are born as animals. And you know, this list is endless. There are so many variations. There's so many variations. And, but what you're born with, that is your toolkit and your environment, that the family you're born in or the place you're born in, and what skills you are born with, what surroundings like other siblings or not, all that, that's it. And we don't have anything to say about it, and nothing we can do about it. That's it. That's where you're born. But every living being has it. And that is what in Hinduism is called karma. Karma is, that is your start. That is your start. Hinduism does not say that, oh, by the way, this sets you up for life. It does not say that. It is not predestined. The actions are your own. So yes, you start with whatever you start with, and that you have no control over, but what you do with it is yours. So let me give you a slight example. I don't know about how many of you play bridge or other card games. The hand you are dealt, that's what it is. There's your hand. And how you play the game, how you play that particular deal is up to you, So yes, the cards that you are dealt, you can call that as your karma. But what you do with it, how you deal with it, how you play the game is up to you. That is you. Part of the reason in my own, look, by the way, I'm not a religious scholar. So anything I'm saying, as the left side of my slides say, Hinduism, my perspective, it's on the left side. And that is because I'm not a religious scholar. Feel free to challenge me. I can defend it only so much because it is me. But keep that so take all this with a grain of salt. But in my own mind, part of the reason this happened or this became a core belief is because Hinduism was trying to answer or find an answer to the extreme and irredeemable qualities or inequalities in the human society. You know, we ask, why did that person get born with a darker skin and I with a lighter skin? Why did that person get born in a rich household while I got born in a poor household? So this karma is basically not trying to provide one answer to that. And it is saying that's because it was your karma. And we'll get into that a shade more. But basically that's what saying you have no control over it. That's what you have. But wake up and go do whatever you have to do to get better or do better. The core belief number 2 is, and that's the last of my Hindi words, is Dharma. That's Dharma. Hinduism imposes on you. That is the one place where you really have no flexibility, is it says you have to have a duty. You have to have a duty. But it gives you full flexibility in choosing whatever duty you want to have. Yeah. And you can say, my duty is to brush my teeth and then sing poetry all day and not do anything else. That's up to you. You choose whatever duty you want, but you have to have a duty, at least a duty. No choice, no choice. And by the way, the Hinduism does recognize that this duty that you choose may change over time, and that's okay. That's all right. What Hinduism suggests, that by the way, the duty that you choose is not required, but Hinduism says I'm going to nudge you towards that, is that it should be in line with your long-term goal. And your long-term goal is to express your divinity. And I'm jumping ahead because just hang on to it, because I'll get to it in core belief number 4 and 5. So you can choose any duty you want. You have to have a duty. That's for sure. Hopefully, it is in line with your goal of expressing your divinity. But let's put that on hold for a while. The number 3 is evaluation. That is a little bit like, I don't know, I worked in a business outside. It is the annual performance evaluation. We had to write down what were we trying to do this year. And oh, by the way, I made more sales than I had targeted, and etc. I brought more revenue to the firm, whatever. All those things. Every year, you had to justify your experience, your salary, your existence, whatever, your career in the company. And in a sense, it is very similar to what you go through at the end of your life. Hinduism says you will be evaluated. You have no choice. You will be evaluated. And since it gave you, as a previous belief said, it gave you full flexibility in choosing what you want to do, you are now asked, why did you choose that particular duty? And equally important, having chosen that, what did you do about it? And having done something, how did you fare? Did you have a good impact? Did you have a bad impact? Did you not have any impact? So what did you choose to do? Why did you choose that? And how did you perform? How did you perform? And this evaluation, by the way, in general, is rough. Rough meaning by the way, this evaluation is between you and your maker, or ultimate reality. We'll use that word interchangeably, but it is between you and your maker. And the maker at this time is rough and tough, but very objective. Because whichever particular duty you choose, the answer will be, that was junky, that was a junky duty. No, you tell me what you did and why you chose it, and then we will make a judgment as to whether you had an impact or not. And the main thing in here is, and by the way, it's done in the context of your karma. So if you are starting with, let's say, a cow, all right, a cow has a karma also. If you're starting as a cow, you don't expect a cow to aim for removing world hunger. For heaven's sakes, what can a cow do? Cow can do only so much. So it is evaluated. This evaluation goes on in the context of what your initial starting toolkit was. Because some people have lower toolkits in some respects, and others have higher in some respects. So in the context of your karma, it is evaluated. But in all cases, what did you choose to do, etc. And the personal accountability is not avoid it. That is your personal thing. You better be able to justify what you did and the impact you had. And the typical thing is, as you sow, so shall you reap. And the maker is fair, objective, but tough. You cannot give easy answers because the question will be, and tell me more, tell me, explain that. So that's number 3. That's a very hard thing, but you are evaluated. By the way, and just to put a little contrast, you know, like that I won't do anything. So I'll bring it up later. Number 4. So now that you've been evaluated, you are given points, just like in an annual exam, or how many marks did you get? What grade did you get? Did you get an A plus or an A, or did you get a D or an F, flunked the course or whatever? So you and the maker will come up with what points did you earn. So of course, the good points get you plus points, and the bad things you did, like if you hit somebody on the head or you stole something, that's a negative point. So all that is totaled. And so they will say, all right, your new karma is now whatever you started with, plus or minus whatever points you earn. And so that is your new karma. And that determines what is going to be done to you now. So if the new karma is not high, suppose you have increased a little bit, then the maker will say, oh, well, okay, not good enough, try again. And try again means go back, I'll give you a new life. Based on what your new karma is, I'll give you a new life, but then try harder, try harder. And if the new karma happens to be, let's say you did a lot of good and a lot of good to a lot of people, then basically what you do is you break that cycle of birth and death. You basically break that cycle, you become one with your maker, and I don't know what happens after that, but you are done. You are done with life and death. So that's part of the reincarnation. By the way, in Hinduism, the distinction at the death is not regarded as a thick wall. It's not regarded as a thick wall. It's not like you have only one life. Like in Christianity and Muslim religion and others, Jewish culture, religion and everything, you have one life and you're done, and you either go to heaven or you go to hell, and I don't even know how long you are there. But in Hinduism, they basically say, well, we know you're trying to do good. This time you may have succeeded a little, or maybe you didn't, you had some negative point. It's all right. You don't deserve hell for that. You just go try again. Try again. That's the focus. Try again until you get enough good points that you can say you are done. So basically, the purpose is to earn enough good points that you can then break the cycle. Now, let me put this on pause. No, I won't. Sorry. So the one thing which I said that in the evaluation, the maker is very objective and very tough. But between the good and the bad, which is in all of us, the good and the bad, the maker, after making beings, living beings, be they humans, be they animals, had a bias. The divine had a bias, and that was for doing good things. So I'm going to, by the way, the way I grew up, I refer to the divine as she. So it's not meant to be cute. It's not meant to be progressive. That's what I grew up with. So just bear with me when I use the adjective, when I use the word she for her. So when she made all these people, all the beings and everything, she had a bias. And the bias was towards good things. So what she did was she put a divine spark, because she said, if otherwise you'll be equally good and equally bad, and this struggle will go on forever. So let me nudge it just a little bit in my favor. And so I'm going to put a piece of myself in every person. And so that's what she did. So all living beings have a divine spark. And we know the nature of the divine spark is a little towards the good. So we have it in us. It is with us all the time. And it is on our side. It is always there with us. And that's because the divinity or God has a vested interest in us. And this spark that we have, the individual has, is indistinguishable from the original or the bigger, the ultimate reality. There is no distinction between the spark that I have and the spark that is in the divine, ultimate reality, the divine. And because of that vested interest and the nudge that she put in, the one goal that we do have is to realize this divinity, is to work towards expressing the divinity that is doing good things. And that is our long-term goal, is that only by doing those good things will we get plus points. And only when we have accumulated enough good plus points, then we will be able to merge, our spark will be able to merge back with the ultimate reality, and we will have broken the cycle of try again, try again, try again. Okay. So just to summarize, in Hinduism, we say that the underlying nature of all living beings is divine. And that means we don't have to be redeemed, because I'm already divine. I don't need to be redeemed. I don't need to be redeemed. But Hinduism says that not everybody, including all living beings, may not realize this. So what we need to do is to be enlightened. We need to be able to see in ourselves and say, oh, the divinity is in me and I better get moving. So I don't need to be redeemed because I'm already redeemed. The divinity, I'm divine. So I don't need to be redeemed, but I do need to be enlightened because I may not be paying attention to it. And things get in the way of being divine or noticing that I'm divine. So ignorance, the ego gets in the way, attachments get in the way. So there are obstacles. But we can do it because in the end, inside, the divinity is nudging me on once in a while. It's nudging me on. But in spite of the nudging, the divinity or the divine will not take the responsibility. Responsibility is yours and you have to act. So Hinduism will be very hard on what are you doing, why are you doing, and how effective have you been. So this is a good point to pause a little, and I'll ask you if so far any thoughts that arise in you, or any questions or any comments, whatever you want. I'm just going to take a slight pause and see what you have to say about all this. And don't forget to unmute yourself. Yes.
I'm pretty curious about how one chooses one's life goal, I guess, or meaning, and if that is considered to change during different stages of life. Yes. Or do you keep one for the whole time?
No, good point. As a matter of fact, Hinduism even suggests certain things. It says that we expect in your life to be 4 stages. One is your childhood, and we don't expect any good things out of it. You should be enjoying it, having fun. You are a child. What the heck do you want? So, go out and play and get into whatever you get into. And so you don't have a duty. You have a duty. Your duty is to just enjoy life. Just go and enjoy it. Then comes, it does say that you then expect in the old days, because this is still there, we want you to get into a family situation, and your duty is towards your immediate family. But it is now basically what it is doing is it is expanding your horizon. As a child, young adult, you don't have anything. You just enjoy yourself. Focus is on you. Just be yourself, enjoy it, and do it. When you get married or have a family, then your zone is your immediate family. It's not just that you are taking care of yourself, you have a joint responsibility for your spouse, for your partner, for your children, for that kind of a thing. So your duty is now expanding, even though it is still safety and making sure they are educated or whatever, those kind of things. The third stage becomes a lot more important, because now it says, well, your kids are gone, they're on their own. What are you doing for your community? Because now the immediate family is much less, more or less gone. So what are you doing for your community and others? And that is where the real duty check comes in. Real meaning now the scope is much larger. And so Hinduism says, we do expect you for the first 10, 15 years to have very little duty, the next 15, 20 years to be duty, but focused on just the immediate family. And after that, another 15, 20 years to be really, oh, now what are you doing? What is your duty? And that is all fully flexible. And then in the last stage, they basically, Hinduism says, you are getting old, you're getting weak, you cannot walk as fast, you cannot talk as fast, you are not as alert as you were. And so the focus is get rid of your attachments. Just prepare to get moving and be yourself. Maybe somebody will come and talk to you and ask you things, but your duties are just to get rid of your attachments and be a little more divine from a self point of view. Yeah. In other words, do no damage to others as opposed to anything. So yes, the duties will change over time, and Hinduism does suggest some certain things, but it also says, not a problem. Choose whatever you want, because we have given you full flexibility. And the price you are going to pay for that full flexibility is you will be personally accountable. Don't forget the evaluation. You're going to have that. Yeah. So that's the price you pay for the full flexibility that you get. Does that roughly address your question, Penny?
Right. And then I'm sorry, I seem to be dominating, so I should let someone else talk. No. Okay. So then next life cycle is built on that evaluation of how you've done. There's no concept of destiny in terms of things that must happen in your life, right?
Yes.
All of that is everybody's free will interacting with each other, I guess, right?
Yes.
But in terms of just the sort of toolbox that you're given, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that is based on this evaluation.
Yes. Yes. But at the same time, remember that when you are evaluated, that will be taken into account. So I'll give you an example. Suppose you are born with tremendous musical ability. So one thing you can do is you can just sing to yourself in the bathroom. I used to do that. I still do. Thank goodness I don't sing in public, because everybody will run away. But if you're given that ability or skills, then it will be asked in the end, oh, wait a bit, your karma said you had good music. Did you play for others? Did you bring solace, to use the music to bring a little comfort to others, rather than just yourself? So those are the questions that will be asked. Did you use your skills in a little more divine or a good or a benefiting others manner? That becomes part of the evaluation. And that is why it is rough for everybody, because Hinduism believes very strongly that you have skills that are extraordinary, that are maybe only one or two or three, but everybody has skills that are more than average. And then the question is, if you have skills which are better than average or more than average, how did you use them to benefit others? Be it music, be it whatever, like I said, whatever. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Raj, I think this is so fascinating. I already see parallels between Hinduism and Unitarian Universalism. One thing that just that I see is the deeds, not creeds. You
Yes,
know, the emphasis
absolutely.
on, yes, on action,
Yes,
on
yes.
action. And I also really appreciate the emphasis on, on getting back up again, trying again. Like it didn't work, like you can try again, but you got to get it at some point. And I love the emphasis on, your gifts, like you're given something, and a judgment is, are you giving back what you've been given?
Exactly.
And to me, that's at the core of advocacy, social justice, giving back to others, and using whatever resources or skills you have for the greater good. I see that there. And to how the emphasis on using your gifts to help others is so deeply ingrained in the faith of Hinduism. It's really amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's a very good observation, Ebony. You have jumped onto my next slide, but that is great. But I'll go back to this, which is absolutely, it is everybody has some skills which are better than average or more than average. And therefore, the question in Hinduism, the formal evaluation imposes on you a duty to act, to do something rather than just sit and talk about it or enjoy it yourself. And it forces that, what have you done for others? What have you done for others? Be it in that one skill that you had more of. Forget the others. We will take that into account. But that one or two skills that you had, what did you do with that? And again, some of it will be limited, because let's say I'm born in a very poor family in a very remote village, and I have a lot of music skills. So I cannot get into on Twitter and broadcast my music to others and all that. But in the context of my karma, did I, at least for my immediate family, for my few community that is small, did I use my music to bring a little more joy and peace and whatever contentment to them? Yeah. So it's not like, it is very fair. It is very fair. But the maker will ask tough questions. She's not going to give up on toughness. She will ask those tough questions. But she's also very fair.
Raj, would you mind talking a little bit more? I think I got interested in the fact that there isn't maybe a one God kind of thing. So when I think about giving gifts from a Christian framework, God is the giver of gifts. But I think I'm hearing you say the gifts are sort of dealt out in some kind of arbitrary way. Is that, am I misunderstanding? Or
and don't get I'm not going to be able to answer that mathematically or completely. But for example, if you have done enough, a few extra good points, then the question will be, you will be born with a better karma. Now that better karma could be, maybe I'm making it up. That doesn't mean it is better. Don't get me wrong. So maybe you're born into a richer family, because then you have more resources to help out. Maybe you are born in with siblings rather than just you as an individual. Um, and so that's one of the extra skills you are getting, is maybe more riches with you, maybe more siblings with you, or oh, maybe I'll give you a little extra music, or I'll give you a little more mathematical ability, or maybe I'll give you more painting ability. Now, which one gets from those extra points, I don't know. But some skill will be enhanced because you had some extra points. Now, will that be A or B or C? I don't know how it is done. I don't know how it is done. But you will be given a little extra. And by the way, that once you get extra, remember that will be taken into account. You'll be asked to do extra. You'll be asked to do extra because you had extra. But again, which particular one you get, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Also interesting. Thank you. I feel my framework is just kind of growing a little bit. It's a new
Yes.
framework.
Yes.
Thank you.
So in the beginning, you talked about more than one God. And
Yes.
so I'm wondering if those other gods are as a result of people having finished the birth death cycle, like they reach nirvana.
Oh.
And is that how they become the other gods, or is there some other? I don't understand that part.
Don't worry, I will get to it a little bit. And the answer is yes. I will hopefully at least give you a little more of the reference. You'll have to figure it out a little bit yourself. You'll have that. But I'm jumping the gun for the next week. There's a lot of things in Hinduism that you have to figure out for yourself. Yeah, but that's
Raj,
okay.
And I was wondering too, like you talked about cows. Is it true that they're not allowed to like eat or kill cows in India?
Yes,
They're
and
like
that's a
sacred?
very, go
Are
ahead.
they people? Do they think they're like people reincarnated?
There are two things. A cow happens to be a bad example on my part, but I will, in general, um, India or Hindus, and I'm going to use interchangeably India. I'm not trying to insult Muslims or Christians that live in India and are good citizens and everything, but because 80% are Hindus, I'm just once in a while I'll slip into that, which I shouldn't. But in Hindus, part of the core beliefs that every being is divine, basically way back got them started. Why do you kill? Why do you kill? Because now you're killing a divine thing. It's a living being, so you are killing a divine. You are killing part of divinity, and so why are you doing that? And that's why in India, the killing of animals in general is very low. Killing is very low, and eating meat is very low, very low. So they will not do that. Now, cows happen to be a special case further, which is that they were also very practical. In the old days, like 2,000, 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, because we grew up in a very fertile land and we used bulls to cultivate, they basically said, wait a bit, if you kill a cow, you are killing future bulls and you are killing your own food, the farming aspect. So cows became a special case because of the cultivation using bulls in the old days. That was a practical imposition. They used that a practical imposition to not kill cows. Yeah, that's my line of thinking. Yeah. Okay. Any other thing, or shall we go ahead to the next one? Okay. So I'm running way behind, but that's okay. That's okay. So this is what I was. Thank you, Ebony. You led me into this. I'll just do a short comparison with Unitarian Universalism. Both are non-prophetic. Both are absolutely, they don't have creed. Both are creedless. But there is a difference. There is a difference. In Hinduism, the reason it is creedless is because it allows for flexible action. It says, choose your duty and do whatever you want to do to fulfill that duty. So I'm going to give you full freedom to choose your duty and to choose the way you implement that duty. So it comes from the extreme flexibility. Now, if I'm going to give you flexibility, I can't tell you, oh, do this, do that, do this. For heaven's sakes. I mean, then I don't have flexibility. So the reason we don't have a creed is because of the flexibility in choosing the duty, in choosing the action. And so, you can't say, Raj, give a lecture, but by the way, you have to stand in that corner and face that way, and I'm not going to give you a mic or whatever. I have less and less flexibility. If you impose all these other creed, or if you impose other rules, then I have less flexibility. So Hinduism says, nah, take all the flexibility you want, take all the duty you want. Oh, but I will hold you personally accountable, but I'm not going to tell you what to do or how to do it. You decide. You have no creed, you go do it. And in UUism, in Unitarian Universalism, my understanding is a little different of why it is creedless. And please, I'm happy to open that up for discussion also. And that is because as I'm trying to recall the name of this. Oh, Bill Schultz. I read his book quite a few years ago, and he basically says that the reason he says we have no creed is because according to him, his words are, our world and being is so grand, so glorious, so complex that it cannot be captured in any narrow creed. The whole world, the whole being, the whole scenario is so grand, is so glorious that you just cannot talk about a narrow creed. You cannot, you have to resist the temptation to use a single lens, a creed. You cannot use a creed. You cannot use a single lens to appreciate the full glory, the full grandeur of the beings and the beauty and the nature and everything. So it is, to me, a little different reason for why we are creedless, as opposed to why Hinduism is creedless. But in the end, both are creedless.
Raj, thank you for that. Can you remind us what the name of that book is and the author, please?
Yes, the author is William Schultz, Schulz. He was a past president of UUA. And I will, next week, I will even have the title of the book. I think it is, I'm not going to go there. I don't remember. So I will dig it up. But William Schultz is the person. He wrote that. And this goes back, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 years. So things may have changed, but in general, they have not. In general, for this aspect, we want to cherish and appreciate the complexity and mystery and grandeur of the existence. And therefore, we can't use a single lens. We can't put a creed on it because that is constraining it. Then you won't be able to see the whole picture. Yeah. But both as our first principle and our interdependence of all living and things like this, our principles both emphasize tolerance and diversity, both, absolutely. And as our first principle states right there, it demands respect and dignity for all. Yeah. And Hinduism will just say the reason for that is because they are your co-equals. You are divine, they are divine. So you have no choice. You have no choice but to treat them as equal. That means you treat yourself with respect, you treat everybody else with respect. So that comes from the fact in Hinduism, because every being is divine. So yes, we have a lot of commonality, particularly on the important things, but the reason behind the creed and a little bit of demanding the respect and dignity is just a little slightly different in Hinduism. Yeah. All right. So any other comments or thoughts on this? All right.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, so far, everything seems very simple. I mean, I tend to think of Hinduism as a complicated religion because there's so many gods and goddesses, but maybe it really is simple, and I just haven't seen this overall picture in my life.
Well, we are getting into the gods and goddesses. We will get into that, but even there's a lot of flexibility. But underlying the core is you are divine, and you better get moving and express your divinity. Better do good deeds because you will be accountable. That's basically what it happens. All right. So let me just talk about the nature of the divine. Just to summarize, all living beings are design. Everybody has the divine spark. And this divine spark that you have, or the divine that we are, is no different than the ultimate reality. And again, I'm going to throw some words: divine, ultimate reality, God. I don't know. Choose whichever one suits you better. Directionally, I'm sure you're getting the idea of what we talk about. Yeah. And I'm not a religious scholar, so that's why. Okay. However, let's talk about the nature of this. If I may use some business terms, this divinity in Hinduism is decentralized. Why is it decentralized? Because it's not an authority at some centralized command and control center. In Christianity, that's my understanding. Be it in the heaven, be it with a white beard somewhere on a hammock between the galaxies, I don't know where, but so somewhere there is the ultimate reality, the God, and it is in one central place. And in Hinduism, no, it is decentralized because I have it, you have it, my Elaine has it, that my pet animal has it. It's all over. It's all over. It's dispersed. And because of that, it is locally approachable because I can always talk to myself. I can always talk to my divinity. So it is very local, it is accessible, and it is present all over the place. It's not in one place. Sorry, I had to use the word not behind the pearly gates in heaven. So maybe somebody will complain and I may take it off, I don't mean to hurt anybody, but it's just contrasting it with other religions. And the difference is because I am divinity, I don't have to go seek God. I don't have to because I'm it right here. And therefore, the job is not to be redeemed, but to be enlightened. I have to realize that, oh, I am divine. I have to realize that. Many people don't. Some don't. But it is there. You just have to, everybody or that person has to be enlightened, woken up, so that they realize that, oh, they are divine. But I don't have to go seek God because everywhere. So because of that, God in Hinduism is not a noun. It is not the name of a person, place, or thing. It's not out there. I don't have to go seek that person because it is in each of us. I mean, that divine's name is Raj, its name is Penny, its name is Sabrina, its name is Ebony, millions and billions of names. So it's not a noun. It's not a person, place, or thing because it's all of us, each one of us. And so the question then becomes, is if you are not seeking God because you are already it, that's not your job now anymore. So what is your job? What are you doing? So God is a verb. That means if you're not to seek, what are we to do? We have to express our divinity. We have to show it. We have to act on it. We have to do good divine deeds. That's the nature of divine, according to Hinduism, is go express your divinity. That's what will get you those plus points. And however, Hinduism says that in every person, in you, even though you have the divine spark, that doesn't mean that it takes up your whole heart or you are fully it. So it allows the bad to coexist in you. Yeah. So you are good and you're bad. And you just need to be enlightened that, oh, I need to pay attention to the good part, not the bad part. But Hinduism will say very clearly that you have the good in you, you have the bad in you. So now I'll take a minute and give you a mathematical answer to it. I had to. Hinduism will say that ideally, when you were being created, you were half good and you were half bad. So now if you have two equal and big forces fighting each other, which are equally strong, then you can mathematically show, if you're equally strong, that that battle will go on forever because they are equal. And so this may lose a little, this may lose a little, but if they're equal, then the battle will go on forever and ever. And that is why the divine spark, being the divinity, being a little bit biased, said, oh, I'll give it a little bit of a good spark so that the battle is not going to last zillions of years or forever. But it may take time because I'm going to not take over the whole heart. I'm going to just give a little bit of a divine spark. And then, so the good will be a little bit more than the bad, but it will still take time. And if they need to, well, we'll give them more incarnations, reincarnation. And that's why we have both the good in us and the bad in us. Hopefully, we are paying a little more attention to the divine and doing good things. We acknowledge that in Hindus, when we say namaste, namaste means, it's actually three words in it. Nama means bow, I bow, as in Hindi means I, and te means you. So I bow to you. And basically it means that the holy in me bows to the holy in you. And don't worry about, yes, there is bad in me, there's bad in you, but I'm not paying attention. I'm bowing only to the holy in you. Even though I recognize that there is bad there too, just as it is in me. But the holy in me says hello or bows to the holy in you. That's what namaste means. It fully recognizes that there is good and bad in both of us, but for the time being, we'll just talk about the good to the good. That's what it does. Even though the divine spark is in us, it is not for micromanagement. It will not tell you, oh, do this or brush your teeth this way or whatever. No micromanagement. But it is available for advice and consultation. You can call it your conscience, but it needs to be asked. It needs to be invoked. You need to be enlightened to ask your divinity, to ask your conscience or whatever. And in some very special cases, it will speak up, but it reserves itself for very special cases. It really does not believe in micromanagement. So yes, you are divine. It is waiting for you to consult it and act on whatever it says. But action is yours. Action is yours. Asking it is yours. Your problem. Your problem. So yes, I have divinity, but I also have bad. And I have to ask the divinity to help me. Now, the question then becomes, what is this ultimate reality? What is this? And so Hindus, when they were developing this, they basically said, well, we have agreed that it is very detached, it's very objective because it does performance evaluation, but we cannot say that it is this shape or this form or it has this quality or that quality or whatever. So they basically gave up on it. And so this is what they said. If you look at it as without form and without any attributes, then of course, all you get is a blank page. And that, of course, does not help. It does not help. Because human beings, I mean, just giving them a white sheet of paper or plain paper is not going to do anything. So saying that the God ultimate reality is like this with no form and no attributes, it's nice in theory, but in practice, it's not going to go far. So guess what they did? What they did was they said that we are going to have several gods and goddesses. And so you can call that we are a henotheistic religion. And they created two trinities, two triads, two trinities. One is a male trinity, and the other is a very parallel, equally powerful female trinity. And so that's at the top level. That's at the top level. But even these six, the three male and the three female trinities, are really manifestation of the one ultimate reality. And I'll try and explain that. And I'll go into a little more detail on what powers are assigned to these, all the six, the top, the male trinity and the female trinity. And after that come many more gods and goddesses, and I'll tell you why. But let me take a sidetrack, and I'll say, why does this make sense? Why does this make sense? Why is it that there is a creator and a preserver and a destroyer and a God of knowledge and prosperity and energy? Why are all these different modules? Why is it that one has this area, one has this area, one has this area? Doesn't make sense. So I'll give you an example. I'll show you one way to understand this aspect is to look at yourself. I have a slide made to me by my daughter. You may remember or may have heard the story of the five blind, the old story that they called them blind men, the elephant and the blind men. So I don't know, do you know the story? Okay, good. I won't have to repeat it too much. But here they go. They're blind, so they have never seen an elephant. They go, and one of them is holding the trunk and says, "Oh, it is really a big snake." The one person is holding the leg and says, it is just a very big, thick cow, because that's all they can relate to a little. One of them is touching the ear and says, "Oh, it is really like a magic carpet or something." Another one is thumping on his side and says, "Oh, this is like a brick wall." And the other one is happened to touch the tail and says, "They're trying to trick us. It really is just a rope." So the point is, the elephant is really all these things. It is like a rope. It is like a wall. It is like a this. But in total, it is the sum of all those different perspectives. But let me go to myself. If you ask some of my friends, they'll say, Raj is a halfway decent tennis player, but his backhand slice is so cheating that he kills the ball and makes me give up the point. So he's a good player, but he has his problems. Some will say, "Oh, he's a very good mathematician. He does this math and takes care of things." A few people will say, "Oh, well, he's a very good father to me." And some people will say, when it comes to kite flying, he's useless because all his kites get cut. He doesn't know how to fly kite. He's a useless guy. Don't rely on him with kites. So, and I'm very true. I'm a bad kite flyer. I'm a halfway decent tennis player. I'm very good at chess. I'm very good at math. And I'm only, etc., etc. And all those different perspectives are true. But in total, that's only one me. It's only one elephant. So same thing. When you look at the gods that were created in Hinduism and assigned certain properties or certain skills, Remember, that was when they want you to concentrate on one perspective. In the end, behind it is only one ultimate reality. Okay, that's the best I can do. Okay. Each of the gods that I'm going to go into a little bit of detail, they all have, by the way, in India, in Hinduism, I will show you and you'll see the pictures. The gods are human type, even animal type, or even combination. It's not like they look like humans only. No, some of them are combination, but all of them, because they're gods, have superpowers. So some have many heads, some have many arms, some have magical weapons, but again, something to make them super, that's all. And in Hinduism, all the gods have a means of transportation. They got to get around somewhere, somehow. And behind all that, they do live by a code of honor. They live by a code of honor. If they say something, be it they spoke on the spur of the moment, they will honor it. They will honor it. They will honor it. So in the male trinity, we have three in the male. So one is the creator. Brahma is the creator, but his job was to make the earth and the heavens and the seas and the galaxies and everything. And once you make them, your job is done. So basically, nice and important, but hardly anybody worships him on a daily basis because it's done. Yes. The other is the preserver. And by the way, look, he's riding on a garud, a particular type of bird, so he can move around fast, etc. And has 4 hands and has a magical weapon in the finger and all that. And the preserver's job is to preserve the goodness. So when goodness is overrun by wickedness to a big extent that the humans cannot, or the beings cannot handle it, then because they're biased a little bit towards the good, they basically said, well, maybe I need to go back and fix a few things so the goodness can prevail again. So that's when Vishnu will come down to earth and wherever to earth and play a role in just knocking off the wickedness a little bit so that the goodness can prevail again. Okay. And that's the job of the preserver, to preserve the goodness. And then there is Shiva. By the way, thank you, Ebony. I saw that in the background picture, there was the Shiva dancing, and that's yes, that was Shiva. And the role is, he's the destroyer. But remember, the role is destroyer, but you cannot recreate new things or in general until you destroy something. So it's not only destroying a table so you can go get a new table, but even your illusions and imperfections, that's the job of Shiva. Yeah. And it basically paves the way for a benefit, hopefully a beneficial change, hopefully. They rely on you, on the humans, on the divine sparks all over to take over. They come in only when you really have goofed up or really need help. That's when they will come. So that's the same thing with Shiva. Will come and destroy to make sure that there is space for the goodness to recreate itself. Now on the female side, there is Saraswati, where basically she is associated with the creator, Brahma, and she is the one for knowledge, for wisdom, for arts, and very pure, very sublime. So if you need knowledge, you better talk to Saraswati. If you need education and all that, in Hindus, they will talk to Saraswati because she's the one with the extra skills in knowledge and wisdom and all that. So let me give an example. Well, look, my kitchen sink was leaking today. We found out last night. So did we call an electrician to fix it? No. Did we call a tennis player to come fix my sink, leaking sink? No. We called a plumber. We called somebody who has extra skills in that piece of thing that I need. So if I need knowledge, I'm not going to go invoke Brahma. What the heck does he know about knowledge? All he knows is create things and that's it, he's done. So if I want extra knowledge, I will offer my requests to Saraswati because she is the one with the skills of knowledge. So I match my requirements with who can give it to me. That's Hinduism. And the example is, I didn't call a tennis player to fix that. I didn't call an electrician. I called a plumber. Okay. The second one who's associated with Vishnu is Lakshmi. She is wealth and prosperity. And by wealth, you know, even though the picture shows gold coins and all that, which is a good visual, but it refers also, when you talk wealth, you talk about spiritual aspects also, or skills. So if you want wealth in a particular thing like extra music or things like this, then you go talk to Lakshmi. You go talk to Lakshmi. You invoke Lakshmi because she's the one with extra skills in prosperity and wealth. The third one, and you will see, is Parvati, and she is known by different names. The top picture where she's riding on a tiger, I guess, yes, is that is Parvati, and she will also take on a very fierce form. I mean, I hate to come across her because my head will be gone in no time. And she's showing it to you. In one of her hands is the head of an evil person she has just knocked off. So that is Kali. That is Kali, her name. So it depends on the form that she takes or the way she manifests herself is that's her name. And she has tremendous strength, very much power, but she also has love and fertility and devotion. So it is a little bit like Mary in the Christian religion, where many women will pray to Mary. And same thing in Hindus, many women will indeed pray to Parvati or Shakti or Durga. Yeah, she has different names, but very gentle, very caring, but you better not cross her path. You better not cross her path. Yeah. So that's the top level thing. That's the top level thing. And so I just put it in a slide. You know, the very top is the ultimate reality, all blank. And in there, after that, I've shown you the six, the two triads, the trinities. But after that, there are many other gods. For example, there is Ganesh. And he, by the way, if you look at him, he's a combination of a human body and an elephant head. Yes. And his transport, having this huge body and everything, elephant head and all that, his transport is a rat or a mouse. See that black thing in the bottom? So that's what he travels on. Somebody must have had a sense of humor. But his skill is, he removes obstacles. So many times in India, in Hindus, when we are, let's say we want to build a new house. So when we lay the foundation stone or something, we invoke Ganesh because we want to make sure that whatever obstacles happen, he gets rid of them, takes care of them so that the house is completed on time, on schedule, on budget, without any big obstacles. So now whether he does it or not, that's a different story. But I'm just telling you what a devoted person will do. I'm not the one who does it. So I'm the wrong person to invoke any of these gods. But that's what many of them will invoke. So, and another one is Rama. He came here he was one of the incarnations of Vishnu, the preserver, and he came to knock out Raman and restore goodness. And one of our epics is Ramayana, that's all about him. But he is really into benevolence and compassion. So if you're angry and you're ticked off at somebody, you really need to invoke Ram, because you need to calm down. You need a little more compassion to be able to see things from the other person's perspective. So a little more benevolence, a little more compassion, Rama will give it to you if you invoke him and all that.
Raj,
Yes.
I just want to bring our attention to the time.
Okay.
So maybe 4 more minutes, and then I'll take 1 minute just to wrap up.
That would be very nice.
Okay.
And I will just go very soon, because these are different gods. I will say Hanuman is like a monkey god. So that's a combination of human and monkeys. And there is Krishna. But yeah, so back to I have only one more slide. So it's good timing, although I took a lot longer than I thought. But in Hindus, they don't have a specified weekly or daily worship. It's not like, oh, Sunday, and I have to go there. They do get focused on idols and associated rituals, but in general, there is nothing specified on a weekly basis. There is also no religious organization like a pope, and I don't even know who comes after that, but the pope and whatever, and deacons and all that, they are just not there in India. They're nothing. No, there are priests who will run a particular temple, but their job is to just run the temple, keep it clean, keep it open, but not be a spiritual leader. No, not at all. We do not get Sunday services, sermons from our pundits, our priests, not at all. They are there for the rites of passage. We will ask that person if somebody's died or born or something, or getting married, but that's it. And by the way, Hinduism has never had a crusade or conversion. Actually, they have a rough time answering, what does it take to become a Hindu? And they say, I don't know, just go do good deeds. And all the religion is basically taught, the morals and the ethics are taught by the home, in the home, by the family. Nothing like, listen to the priest. There's nothing like that. The priest is there, but only to keep the temple clean and open. And once in a while, like on birthday or not birthday, on the birth of a child or the death of a family member, they'll come. Other than that, no. And many times people will indeed, in the beginning of the day, offer a prayer that make it a good day of mine. But they match, like I gave you an example, they match the strength with the task. So if today my task is to go start a new building, I'll just offer something to Ganesh, because I don't want any obstacle. If today I have to go give a lecture, well, I may, not I, but a Hindu may invoke Saraswati. Oh, I need knowledge. I better not forget what that is. So that's a different of daily practice compared to the theory. And I'll get into that in many other ways, next week. And I will encourage you, I ran you out of time myself also, but if you have any questions or comments, I will hang around for a while, but I will also encourage you to give it to Ebony, and she will email it to me, so that next week I'm going to be a little more disciplined and watch the time and make sure that your questions or comments are definitely addressed. Okay, Ebony, you're on.
Great. Would you mind to stop sharing your screen,
please?
That
would be nice.
Thank you.
Where is my, here it is. Stop share.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna try to share my screen. All right. All right, thank you so much. Raj, we appreciate it. After we extinguish our chalice and then do one more brief slide, I will leave the room open for any additional questions that there are. I know I have a few questions, but I do want to respect the time. So as we extinguish...
I'm open, but yeah.
Thank you. So as we extinguish our chalice, we'll think about these words. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. Mahatma Gandhi. And then join us next week, same place, same time, for part 2 of Hinduism, a brief overview.
And I'll be a little more disciplined. But Stephanie, these Mahatma Gandhi quotes are just so appropriate and so nice. So nice, yes.
Thank you. All right, well, for anyone who wants to step away, it's 8:30, so you're welcome to do that to respect your time. If anyone would like to stay for another 5 or 10 minutes, we'll have a little round of Q&A. And so I will actually start. So Raj, I am very curious about I noticed that the gods and goddesses have 4 arms. You know, why is that? What is the significance of that? And then
yeah, go ahead.
My other question is, you know, since there's that's not a prophetic faith or religion, who came up with the gods and goddesses? Like they had to be created by someone, right? Like did a group of wise people get together and say, okay, these are the gods and goddesses? Like, I'm just so curious.
Yeah, I can answer the first. I cannot answer the second. And your first question was, I can't hear you.
The 4 arms.
Yes, the 4 arms, or in some cases 10 arms, or in some cases 3 heads. They are all meant to say that they have extra strength or superpowers in arms or heads or fighting or power or what. It's just meant to designate a sense of awe, a sense of, wow, these people are a little special. So it's just imagery. In the old days, they didn't write anything, so images carried a lot of weight. So that's why my own feeling is that's why they did that. And even they have some magical weapons, which we don't, etc. So they can do things that we cannot do. Yeah. Or like flying on a bird, we cannot do flying in a bird. And in those days, now we can, different birds, but in those days, so they had extra transportation, movement, power, etc. Now, who came up with all this? I don't know. I don't know. All I can say is that I think they came up with the Trinity first. Because in life, there are 3 main things. You create, you maintain, and then you ultimately say it's done. So that's the Brahma, the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. It happens to you. You are created, you preserve, you do your life, you live your life, and then you die. So if you were to say, these are the 3 things we do. So give them to God, you know, that's what they are. And then, so that's the life stage. And then on the other hand, what are we here for? We are here to have knowledge. We are to be a homos, we are sapiens, ultimately, without that term in those days, but we are a little bit of an intelligent species. So we have some knowledge and all that. We also have a community. So we take care of each other, even though animals do that too, but we do that a little bit more. And we have those who are after us, I'm going to knock them out. So a little bit of that living aspect, and that they somehow, I can guess why they assign that to the women, because in my own biased way, women are much, much better at compassion, at community, at relationships. The men just go out and hack and kill, you know. I'm exaggerating. So, but I'm just saying that that's why they gave the those roles to the women rather than to the men. But that's just my own line of thinking. But if you look at your life, that's, you live, you're born, you live, you die, but then there is a reason for what you're doing, or you do things. And so that aspect is the female trinity representing that. Why 3, why not 4? I don't know. And then, of course, they said, well, that's not enough on a day-to-day basis, because, the knowledge is nice, but I want to get my plumbing fixed. So I need special gods with small, special skills. So they tossed them around here and there. I don't know. I don't even know. I think there are over 100 gods, seriously. But I'm the wrong person to ask. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, the floor is open if you'd like to ask some more questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. I was curious about, so we've talked about there's a divine spark in people and some animals. What about just things in general? Like, is there, like, say, a tree or the earth, or, just things? Like, is there considered to be divine spark sort of in everything, or is it living things, or like?
Yeah. In general, it is for living things. But even in living things, like trees, they somehow assign it a being. But vegetables, they don't somehow. That grows too. There's a small potato which gets bigger and all that, and produces spuds, and eyes, which then give rise to new potatoes. But somehow they didn't go that far. So, but rocks, for example, no, they're not living. But trees, even though they don't move, but somehow they assigned that to be a living thing, but not the vegetable somehow. Don't ask me. I'm just, I don't know.
I think because they have to eat something, right?
Well, whatever. Yeah, you cannot be killing everything to eat.
You can't eat cows and gotta eat some potatoes.
So I'm curious, is it possible to be a contemporary Hindu, a very educated person, say, who has a belief, but not an actual belief, if I can say it, like, how some of us are related to our religions of childhood. They don't seem to have the same, hard belief system, but we understand them as stories and myths. Is that possible, to be a Hindu and understand that? Or is it necessary to believe in this as a greater reality, if that makes sense?
Well, I'll give you my example.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to go to the temples here and there. She was much, and I'll talk about it a little bit next week, but she was much more into love and devotion. And so she would go visit the temples and the gods and goddesses and all that kind of thing. In addition to, she was a very good social worker also. But she also had that side where she was doing prayers and all that stuff. My dad, on the other hand, went to a temple only when he was dragged to a temple. When mom would say, there's nobody there, I need somebody to drive my car to take me to the temple or something like that. He just never did. And so I grew up with the two extremes, where not extremes, but two sides, where my mom was into love and devotion. And my dad his answer was, you don't have to go to a temple even once. Just go do good deeds. That's it. Don't have to go to a temple. And Hinduism allowed me that flexibility. I choose my path, I choose my objective, I choose my duty, I choose my way I want to do it. And I will be happy to, not happy, but I will be evaluated, and I will do my best to answer it as to why I chose to do what I chose to do. And my mom would say, the reason I go to the temples is I need more support, more help in being kind and loving. So I'm not going to go get a plumber to teach me that. I'm going to go to my goddess, who is very kind and loving, and I'm going to ask her to give me some of that gift for today, so that I am for the rest of the day a little extra kind, a little extra compassionate.
Lovely, thank you.
Yeah. So again, it's that's also fits in with Hinduism, which is, it doesn't say how we express our divinity, how we express our love, how we express doing good things. There are many, many ways to do good things. But in the end, you have to justify it for what you did. Was it enough? Did you do enough? Did you have an impact? Or did you do it just for yourself? Those kind of things. But it allows many different paths, many different ways.
Raj, what does it mean to merge with our maker? Is there?
Well, yeah, I'm not there yet. I don't know. Basically, what it says is that you, because I jokingly say, don't ask me why I picked up that number. This is my actual age is more like 2 billion years, and I'm in my 267th reincarnation. I made it up. So the answer is, I don't know. I'm still working at it. I have no idea what happens when you merge with your maker. All I can say is that according to Hinduism, this soul, not the body, but the soul, which is in its 267th reincarnation, will, if he does enough good things, enough good points, then he will not get, he or she, or it will not get a 268. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean eternal happiness? I don't know. I don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Yeah.
With one last question I have, and then that's it, unless anyone else has questions. But I was wondering about the reincarnation, and I could just not be well informed, but from what I had just understood from the media and just watching the news and stuff like that, that there may be some sort of negative connotation around where people get reincarnated into darker skinned people because they've done something wrong. And so because of the case or caste system, they deserve to be poor and marginalized because they're darker skin and of the darker caste because they've done something wrong. Is there any light you can shed on it?
Yeah.
I don't know, is that?
You've raised a question that I will take about 45 minutes to answer in the end, and it will not be satisfactory because the caste system is a horrible, horrible system in India. It started, I may have a few slides on it next time.
Okay.
It started as a social construct, and it became, and religion was put into it to where it became horrible. Having said that, I won't go into detail because I don't want to, it will take me a while to explain or even not explain, to represent what my understanding is. And it is a horrible system. It is there. It is and it definitely has roots in the color of the skin, because the original invaders that came, the Mongols, as well as the Caucasians, as well as the Nordic that came, were fairer skin, And so some of that indeed got, and they were the invaders, they were the winners. So they basically used other means to put the locals down. And one of the common thing in them was they were fair. Not only were they more powerful because they had managed to win, but they were fairer, and the locals were brown skin, So definitely has roots in that color of the skin. Absolutely.
So all religions have a difference between the precepts of the religion, the meanings, and then how society basically lives it. And it doesn't always match up, right?
Well, thank you for that. But the Hinduism, or in India, it's in a way out there, way out there. I just read a book on, it talks about 3 societies. The US with the black and white and all that, talks about India, and it talks about South Africa. And oh, I'm sorry, it mentions South Africa, but it really talks about the Germans with the Aryan and Hitler and all that. I knew most of it, but the way she has put it all, and I'll give you the title of the book afterwards, the way she has put it, just, it's like really strikes you and opens your eyes in a different way. Yeah.
I'm seeing in the chat, is it Case by Isabel Wilkerson?
Yes, yes. Thank you. I just finished reading it. I have my notes, but my memory is a little weak. I have it right there in the other room.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap us up now. My mind is spinning. There's so much information, and the visuals were beautiful. The different gods and goddesses, and you've been so generous with your time and your wisdom, and just sharing with us your perspective. And we just appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much indeed. And I always get a big kick. And I have my notes. I've been making notes that will help me be a little better, including watching the time.
All right. Well, thank you, and have a good night, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Raj for speaking to us, and thank you to Ebony for bringing the class to us and reminding us.
Thank you indeed. Yes, thank you.
See you next
week.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Good night.